everyone, and thanks for joining us on the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network, also featured on The Roar on 99.1, 93.5, and 94.7 HD2. Happy Friday, gentlemen.
Good day, good day, good day.
Good day.
Oh, my God.
Can I ask you a question? Are you a sneakerhead?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure because you always got some fresh kicks. And if my son was here and wore your same size, y'all would have to be fighting because he does the same thing.
Just as an outlier, because probably not going to get to it later in the show, but the NHL playoffs have been insane. Insane.
They're always insane.
There is nothing like playoff hockey. Like, outside of... Not even playoff baseball gets anywhere near playoff hockey. It is unbelievable.
Well, playoff baseball can't be the same because of the nature of the sport. You have one team up and then another up. In playoff hockey, it's like it could end any second. And there's always these great scoring opportunities that just miss, and then you get goals called back, and there's big hits. And playoff hockey has been insane for years. And I think it's more insane this year because they actually let the superstars do their thing. And
absolutely.
So, yeah, it's been absolutely nuts.
All right.
Enjoyable.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, we got a jam-packed show for you today. We're going to get to the Michigan State ring controversy. So all you Michigan and Michigan State fans tune in. Dose of Dion joins at 8:30. We'll take callers roughly around the top of the hour. Hell, we may do it sooner, but for sure, top of the hour, we'll start taking callers. Feel free to call in. We'll drop in the number, of course, 313-552-6322. We'll talk... Sadly, we'll talk about the Detroit Tigers. Just, they couldn't hit a ball if Fish was pitching. It is extremely depressing at this point. But let's start about something not so depressing. NFL.com came out with their official draft grades for every division, and in the NFC North, the Detroit Lions wound up with the highest grade with an A-. And I found it a little interesting that they had the Bears as high as they did in terms of letter grading. They gave them a C, Terry.
It's not
I
good.
would have given them a D+, D-. They did nothing to help Justin Fields. They did nothing.
Yeah, you mean Justin Fields, the guy that all Lion fans should fear?
Oh, my God. I don't even want to get back to last year where people were not only, like, begging for him at number 7 overall, but... And again, I think he'll still have a good chance to be a good player, but you needed so many other things. And, yeah, you bring in a Justin Fields player to this Lions team that you have right now? Oh, yeah, okay. But Justin Fields with that team last year, with no Penei Sewell, good luck.
Well, he also had no coaching.
Oh, that too.
You're supposed to nurture young guys and put them in not the best position to succeed, but a position where they can at least grow. And he didn't even get to grow. But, I do read the social media thing, and I just get this one every few weeks. Lions are going to rue the day they did not draft Justin Fields.
No, they're going to rue the day they didn't take Malik Willis number 2 overall.
Yes, sir.
Instead of taking him, like the Titans did at 86.
Right.
Again, like, Terry, look, the Lions did what they did. They did a good job. You want to go on grades? F the grades. I think everybody in not only the room, sitting at home watching, casuals, hardcore fans, doesn't matter who. People are looking at that draft and saying, wow, that made sense. And B, I didn't think that was possible. I didn't know the market was you can move up 20 spots in the first round for basically a third-round pick.
The rules have changed. Or you have someone who can figure these things out.
Yes. And that's what Brad Holmes has done. That's what he's proven so far in his first 2 drafts as the Lions GM. Terry, my question for you on the Lions situation has nothing to do with the team this year. From dating back to Schmidt up until now, we've seen GMs come and go. We've seen front offices, regimes, if you'd like to call them, tandem at GM and coaching staffs come in, I don't recall there ever being a professional front office. Does that, you follow me here?
I know, under the Ford family. Is that
Yes.
what you want to say? Okay. I hear you.
I have never seen a professional or as much of a professional.
You know, you're a little bit hesitant this morning. Let me help you.
I don't want
The
to.
reason you don't recall front office as professional because it's never happened.
Yes.
So you can't recall it. It's
There's
never been like
been a
this.
point where you'd looked at this franchise under that ownership group and say, you know what, Terry? I think they're onto something here. It seemed to me that they would stumble across extremely talented players, Calvin Johnson, Adham, and Matthew Stafford, and then they would waste the talent. And on top of that, they would sit there and say, well, you know, with Jim Caldwell, who is an average, decent coach, good, hell, you could even say good coach, you don't load up and position yourself to be successful really after his second, third year. And it's been downhill since. Matt Millen, Martin Mayhew, Bob Quinn, Terry, they've all been buddies, friends,
Right.
friends of.
It's
Brad Holmes comes from L.A. He's not associated with the Fords at all. And I think that is very important.
No, that's critical because the story that has not been written or talked about in this city is that the Ford family has allowed the good old boys network to ruin a franchise. You know, I always hear this. You know, if a black guy is up for a job, is he qualified? Is he qualified? Well, here's what the Fords were allowed to do. William Clay Ford Sr. was allowed to bring his buddy in as GM.
That was a 20-plus year run, wasn't it?
And he kept going on and on, pissing off players, underpaying them. So, yeah, he was like almost 30 years. So then Russ Thomas was allowed to bring in his friend, Chuck Schmidt. So then they go on. Now, and then why did they hire Matt Millen? Because he's a good guy. We like Matt. So it was allowed to fester. This is the first time that they have gotten a coach GM combination not based on friendship, not based on being drinking buddies. This was a legit nationwide search to try to find someone to turn this franchise around. This is the first time in 60-something years. That's really sad.
Terry,
But happy it's happening now.
absolutely. I mean, better late than never. And this was always going to be the tough conversation that Lions fans needed to have with themselves. When were you going to just put your foot in the ground and say, you know what? Like, I'm like fed up with this. Completely fed up. Not falling in love with a new project, a new coach, a new this time it'll change. That is mindset is just pathetic. And you can tell now what a professional operation looks like. I'm not telling you have a Super Bowl operation, hell, even a division-winning one. What I'm telling you right now is, considering your history and your track record of how you operate compared to not even 2 seasons of what it's been under Brad Holmes, it's night and day. It's a night and day difference in operation.
But you know who the MVP in this is? Then we don't. Sheila Ham.
100%.
Because she didn't follow the same path as her mom or dad. And the other thing is, Lion fans allowed this to happen. Every time you say, you know what, the Lions stink, they're like, that's my team. I support my team. Through thick or thin. And a lot of just would, and I'm not saying revolt on them, but you should make more demands from. They had the Millen Man March. That was really the only time that people protested.
Yeah, but what did it take for them to get to that point? That's the problem.
2-14, 0-16,
Yep.
and a bunch of miserable. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's again, Terry. If I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this, by the time I finish talking into this microphone, I would have liked to contribute at least 5% towards Detroit Lions fans manning up a little bit and having some expectations and not sitting there and say, oh, well, I would have liked to make the playoffs 50% of the time and they didn't come up. I would have, my objective is a little different. Standards, expectations.
Right. Or instead of when you finish 6-10, when it was a 16-game season, next year is going to be the year. Next year is going to be the year, and it never is. Next year is never the year. And it never is.
And you know what? Again, in 10 years, give me the next 10 years. If you told me this team had 6 winning seasons, 2 to 3 division titles, multiple playoff wins, Terry, would anybody in this town, outside of a select handful, because there always are, would there be anybody complaining about the growth of the franchise?
No, I think we will have a victory parade from Pontiac on Woodward all the way downtown.
For what?
For just that team becoming real, having 6 winning seasons. We always talk about how crazy this town would be if the Lions won a Super Bowl.
Forget that. What if they became a legitimate franchise?
I think, if they became, let's say, the Green Bay Packers, this town would go nuts because they're so, they should go nuts because because this has been so, it's like a desert.
100%.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Terry.
I think it would be fun, and to see that. But I never thought the Lions would do anything like that based on the people that they hired to run their franchise.
Well, they're in a much better position now than they were, I would say, 3, 4, 5 years. Even 10 years ago, you can keep going back and back and back. Even with the years they were making the playoffs. There was never this level of confidence in terms of...
Everybody makes the playoffs.
Thank you.
The worst franchises make the playoffs 3 out of 10 times.
There's only one team that hasn't won a playoff game since 2000?
It's our Detroit Lions.
But there's one team that always does a good job, and that's the team over at Sticker Genius. Sticker Genius is the official sticker partner of the Woodward Sports Network, and when it comes to stickers and signage, please think Sticker Genius. Visit them at stickergenius.com, check them out on their social medias, and have a good day.
Cintron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings, proud partners of the Detroit Pistons, and exclusively served at Little Caesars Arena. If you're looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and great taste, Cintron is your top choice.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. I'm excited about this topic.
On the Woodward Sports Network. Well, why are you so upset?
I'm not upset.
Somebody didn't get hit on last night.
Oh my God. I hate you.
So you did an 0 for last night, huh?
You betted about as good as the Detroit Tigers did yesterday, huh?
You.
It's okay. Everybody hates me. Do you... All right, Terry, I don't know if you got this on social media. Michigan fans were set into an outrage yesterday.
I actually missed this. Fill me in.
Because Michigan State came out with their official Peach Bowl rings.
How awesome is this?
And
How
their
do you
Peach
not?
Bowl rings, by the way, FYI, have the final score of what I would argue is one of the greatest Michigan State games ever in their entire rivalry. And they have it on their Peach Bowl ring. And the Peach Bowl is no Alamo Bowl, Home Depot Bowl, Let Me Eat a Snicker Bowl. Like, it is one of I would say a top 6 bowl game. That's an accomplishment. Michigan winning the Big Ten, that's an accomplishment. And if Michigan wanted to put Ohio State, like Ohio State put on their championship ring, why is that a problem? Why?
Because people are sensitive.
I don't get that. Stop being a bunch of you-know-what. I am tired of people. I'll tell you guys why. And this isn't just Michigan fans in general. All of you.
Yes, it is.
Today's message applies to Michigan fans, but it's for people in general. Take it as life advice. That game last year, October 31st, Michigan and Michigan State walked into that game 8-0 and 7-0, I believe. Or both 7-0. Michigan State down 14 with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. They're driving. They get into the fourth. They score early. We all remember how this plays out. Michigan State comeback win. Congratulations. Great. Whatever. Kenneth Walker, a 5-touchdown performance, by the way. That was a really historic game. I would say it's a top 3 game all time in that Michigan-Michigan State rivalry. My opinion. I think it was one of the greatest games ever played between the two schools. It is a big moment. Now, had Michigan won that game, I'm pretty sure they would maybe even put both the Michigan State and the Ohio State scores on their rings. Now, do I care what you do with your ring? I don't. I think it's ridiculous that Michigan fans are even acknowledging this. It is a bit much, in my opinion. When I first saw the ring, I was like, oh, wow. That's cool. Swipe. Keep going. On to the next post. On to the next post.
No, you can't do it with the Michigan State.
4 hours later, phone's blowing up. Oh, my God. They put the score? Excuse me, guys. Maybe I can add some historical context. Both of you were undefeated. Kenneth Walker ran for 5 touchdowns. They came back and beat Michigan. Michigan then, obviously, after that win and won the Big Ten championship. It was a big year for both schools. Both schools have every right to be happy with what they accomplished this year. I don't want to hear it at all from Michigan fans. At all this morning. Stop being a bunch of babies. It's not that serious. And I'm going to say it one more time. Context matters. Michigan State and Michigan were undefeated going into that night. And Michigan State came back down 14. Michigan State won 37-33. Did they blow it next week, I believe, against Purdue? Yeah, who cares? It was a part of their journey. If I tell you Michigan, tell me what the most important parts of your season were. You would tell me beating Penn State on the road. That was a prove-it game. And then obviously the Ohio State game.
was at home because it was in the snow, Penn State. That was the snow game.
And it wasn't a whiteout game at night. So they maybe got away with that too. But that's not the point. You would tell me the 2 most important games we played after the Michigan State game were Penn State and Ohio State. And those were a huge reason why we won the Big Ten. Good. That is part of your journey. Part of Michigan State's journey is they beat Michigan 37-33. The eventual Big Ten champions they beat. And it's the reason why they got the Peach Bowl invite.
All right, can I put something in context?
Go ahead.
First of all, there should never be a Peach Bowl championship ring. The Peach Bowl, you're not playing for a championship. You're playing in the Peach Bowl, the Chick-fil-A and all this kind of stuff. A bowl game is not a championship. It's more like an invitational. What happens is guys with ugly jackets, and I hope people are not making fun of my jackets, but ugly, colorful jackets make a decision based on who they want to see in that bowl game. It has nothing, I'm not going to say it has nothing to do with accomplishment. Accomplishment means something, but bottom line is, do I want this team in my bowl? Yes or no? They decided we want Michigan State in there, so we're going to put them in there. So when you play in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, you're not playing for a championship. You're playing an opponent that you hope to win, to beat. The only championship game is the BCS championship game. That deserves a ring. And I would like to believe that Michigan let's say they won a championship. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. Michigan did win a championship. They won the Big Ten. Now, I would like to believe that Michigan would not put Michigan State score on there. They would put the Iowa score on there because that is the game that allowed them to win the Big Ten championship. So I wouldn't put Ohio State on there. I wouldn't put Michigan State. I would put Michigan 40, Iowa 3 because that was the game that won you the Big Ten championship.
Yes, but those rings, in my opinion, are a display of your journey, how you got there. It's not just the final score of said game. Now, every team does it differently. Some teams, it is specifically that bowl score. That is it. We won that game, which is fair.
You know what you do, Adam? Buy yourself a T-shirt. Get a T-shirt that says Peach Bowl champion, and then on the back put all the scores of your season. That's what I would do, but not on a ring because a ring it means you accomplished something as a champion. You didn't win a championship. You didn't win the Big Ten.
Again, fine, but that applies to every school in the country because they're giving out rings this way. This is just what they do. They commemorate basically everything nowadays.
Then that's
do
wrong.
I agree with your point? That's wrong, sure, but that's not going to change the fact that they're giving out the rings. And
But be a man. Be a man. And no, this crap has got to stop.
Look, I'm not about.
You got power.
Yeah, but look, I don't like participation trophies, but the Peach Bowl is a New Year's Day bowl. It is one of the bigger bowls that you have in college football. Like I said, a top 6 bowl. We celebrate the Rose Bowl. We celebrate all these bowl games, even when the BCS was around. Again, is the Peach Bowl, oh my God, historical? Holy hell. No, but again, Terry, for me, I don't care what you put on the ring. It's your season. You're remembering your season. And I think the biggest game Michigan State played outside of the Peach Bowl was the game against Michigan. And I think that was the highlight of their season outside of the Peach Bowl win. That was the catalyst to getting them into a top 6 bowl game. That was the catalyst for them finishing, obviously, 11-2. Did Michigan go on and win? Hell yeah, they did. And they deservedly won the Big Ten because they beat Ohio State and they beat Penn State and they won the games they needed to win. And then they beat Iowa. Like, Michigan can have their ring. I don't care. But this idea that you can't have a score that reflects how you got to this point, I think that's ridiculous.
The ring is ridiculous.
The ring itself.
Therefore, there shouldn't be a score. If you're gonna put a score, put the Michigan State Pittsburgh game because that's what helped you win the Peach Bowl. If you didn't win that game, then technically there's no ring. So I disagree with putting the Michigan score on there. Am I jumping up and down all pissed off? No, I mean,
we've been doing this
would say
forever
no.
now, though. 2018, not Dwayne Haskins, Ohio State. 2018, they had the 62-38 final score in the bleachers as a part of the ring, as a part of their Big Ten championship ring. They didn't even play Michigan in the Big Ten title game. No outrage. Again, Michigan State, I understand this quote-unquote little brother rivalry. Everybody's upset. I don't have an issue with the ring at all. I think it's pointless. I didn't see the big deal. Like, I don't understand the outrage, Terry. That's what's getting me. Do I like participation trophies? Absolutely not.
Well, I don't know
stupid.
if you know this, young man.
Go ahead.
The Spartans and Wolverines don't like each other. And they nitpick.
Out of all the things that we are discussing on May 6th, Michigan fans decided to wake up yesterday and freak out over a Peach Bowl ring. Where Mel Tucker, by the way, I want to say he's the third or the first. It's one of the two. Michigan State coach to start 2-0 against Michigan. So, yeah, that's kind of a historic win as well. On top of the comeback, on top of the historic meaning behind it because both teams were undefeated at the time. I don't know.
Then what they should have done
Bunch of softies, man.
is after they beat Michigan, they should have had a little ring for, hey, we beat Michigan. 37-33. Give them a little we beat Michigan ring.
Oh, God.
To me, this whole thing is ridiculous. First of all, Wolverines.
There's already a trophy for that anyways.
No, Wolverine fans back in the day were saying, we're above stuff like that. No, you're not. And then, Michigan State is all still hot and bothered by the little brother stuff. So anytime they can, smear it in Michigan's face, they want to do that. But that's what you do when you have rivals who don't like each other. I think to me the whole thing is ridiculous because there should not be a Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl championship ring. I'd rather have a gift card from Chick-fil-A or something like that. And then maybe if you want to put on the gift card, Michigan State 37, Michigan 33. I'm okay with that. But
Michigan fans, shut the hell up.
Yes,
because just shut the hell up. You went to the fucking Outback Bowl and went 8-5, and you lost the fucking game, and you still gave out a ring. Like, guys, this isn't about the ring. The point is, don't get freaking upset over it. Jesus Christ.
Did they have the Michigan State score on that ring? Because they probably lost.
They lost 5 games that year. God knows how many games and who they lost to. And it was probably under who? Brady Hoke or Rich Rod? I don't remember. I think it was the Jadeveon Clowney game, wasn't it? Where he almost killed the running back?
Yeah.
Holy hell. It's been a minute. We need to take a quick break. When we get back, Dose of Dion on the line at 8:30. We'll get to talk to him about the Lions NFL draft, get his thoughts. But before we do, Maddie, could you tell us what's popping off with dessert at Big Boy?
Yes, I can. The Strawberry Fest is back at Big Boy. We brought back some of the classic breakfast items like the strawberry French toast. And if you're not feeling breakfast, that's fine. They've got strawberry bacon chicken wrap, a crispy chicken wrap, nacho wrap, or a strawberry salad as well. And don't forget, of course, to grab dessert, including their very delicious strawberry pie for only $1.99 with a purchase of $7.99 or more at your participating Big Boy.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
At Wing Snob, staying humble's not our forte. We just have better wings. We're back at it again with our crispy golden brown fries and our famous boneless wings. Juicy, tender, hormone-free chicken. Your favorite signature sauces with no bone. Just when you thought Wing Snob couldn't get any better. Order online at wingsnob.com today. Wing Snob. We just have better wings.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Guys, Guardian Alarm, they just get it. They keep you safe and give you absolute peace of mind. Whether you're at home or on the road, their 24/7 local monitoring makes sure what is important to you is safe. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT for peace of mind. That's right, you heard Fish. 1-800-STAY-OUT right now and let them know that Woodward Sports sent
Watch
you.
some football tomorrow. It's going to be great fun.
Fish, what are you doing tomorrow? Yeah.
Well, I'm watching some final day of the English Championship tomorrow. Should be some fun. And there's Premier League tomorrow. There's football tomorrow. There's everything tomorrow.
Good
How do
for
you
you.
not?
Good for you. I'm happy for you, buddy.
Basketball playoffs and hockey playoffs. I'll watch some of those.
Okay, what else?
Golf should be good. A Betfred British Masters in the morning. How do you not?
Hell yeah, Fish.
And,
Fish, I want to live your life for one day.
Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really that fun.
I'm working tomorrow morning. You're watching soccer.
Yeah.
I want to live your life.
You doing Woodward bets?
No.
Oh.
I'm just working.
Oh, okay. That's sad.
All right, well.
I told you to multitask several times.
Buddy, I can't work and watch soccer.
You can listen to it. Stick your earbuds in.
No, too distracting. Too distracting. We are
Okay.
joined this morning by Dose of Dion. If you haven't already checked him out on YouTube, check him out and subscribe, of course. Dion, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys, man. How we doing? I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on, guys.
How much money did you lose in Vegas?
Oh, gosh. No, I'm playing. Nothing. Luckily, I can't. So that's where I lucked out there. Now, hey, I'm sure a lot of people did, but I didn't. You know, I mean,
Good
here's
for
where
you.
I did lose money. I will say this. Okay, ice cream. All right, so I went down to get an ice cream. And I was told going up there, hey, Vegas, you know, food is pretty cheap. All right, that's cool. So I get an ice cream, little shake this big, $12. Dang, man, that's the most expensive shake, but it was really good, so I'll give him that.
All right. Well, Dose, obviously the draft played out the way it did. You were there down in Vegas, by the way, which was so awesome to see. Walk me through the first round reaction. Aiden Hutchinson, the trade up for Jamison Williams. Overall takeaways. Let's just start in the first round. We'll get to the later picks in a little bit.
For sure, man. I think I learned a lot from that first pick. If I'm ever at the draft again, I'll kind of like relax a little bit more during the first pick. I was going so crazy just with the Jaguars on the clock. I was bouncing around to the point I think I hurt my calf. For the next few days, it hurt to walk a little bit. But when the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you know, just the draft is now open, that part got me. You know, and people were going crazy. The environment was nuts. I didn't expect to see as many Lions fans as I did. They were everywhere. There were so many people there. But when the Jaguars took Trayvon Walker, I'm telling you, I think it was louder in the Detroit little section than it was in the Jacksonville Jaguars section. All right, there was a little bit of cheering over there, but it wasn't like exciting. The Lions section was kind of excited because there was kind of that sense. And then immediately we saw the pick was in. And, man, I don't know. As soon as he walked out just to kind of announce Hutchinson was coming and he was here, and he saw him walking to the stage, you just kind of had that sense like, oh, snap, he might be coming here. And the reaction was crazy. Like I said, I mean, I was bouncing around. It was nuts. Everybody was together. They were all hype. And most people there before that we talked to either wanted Kayvon or Hutchinson, but most people were kind of on the Hutchinson train. So a lot of people were super excited for that one. And it was awesome to see him come over. I thought his reaction was just great. It just added on to everything. And then the Jamison Williams trade up, that one kind of took me off guard because I wasn't expecting it at all. I mean, I didn't ever really consider the Lions trading up for a receiver. But
How was it announced? How was it announced live at the draft? Obviously on TV, I mean, we have all the people telling us, all right, the trade, they're moving up. You see the graphics, you see all the changes. When was the trade officially announced? Or did you not know until Goodell walked up and said, hey, there has been a trade?
Yeah, it's interesting. So with the trade, you don't know the details. They don't show you the details or anything like that. So people are trying to get on ESPN and see, and you know, it's not great service. But we found out, well, they have like a list of the next 5 picks, and all of a sudden you just see like Lions are listed number 12 when pick 11 is happening. So it's like, okay, what's going on? Because I think it wasn't the first trade of the day, but you're kind of just trying to figure out what's happening. And then all of a sudden when he gets up there, he tells you that a trade has been made, and then everybody loses it. But you don't know the details at all. So, I mean, heck, we could have just gave away a player. We have no idea. We just know that the Lions team name is up there. So that was how you knew it. But the reaction to Jamison, man, I didn't know what to expect there. We moved up. I'm like, are we getting a safety? What are we doing? I was just hoping it wasn't a quarterback. I'm like, oh, man, I was hyped about Hutchinson. Don't trade up and get a quarterback here. Please don't do this. And they take Jamison Williams. And like I said, I think I wore myself out from the first pick because I was not expecting, man. I thought I had 30 picks of a break. Nope, we're right back to it. But he was sweet too, man. I mean, I didn't expect it at all. But then when you really step back and think about it, like, wait a minute, we just got Jamison Williams. I never even considered this as a possibility that this guy would be in Detroit. I don't know. I just couldn't imagine like our last regime or any of our last regimes making something like this happen. So
Absolutely not.
They wouldn't even think of trying to do that.
No, they would have taken the San Diego State punter, number 2 overall, and then they would have traded up.
He did punt 186 yards.
Yep. They would have traded up at 12 to grab the kicker out of Penn State. So they would have grabbed special teams players with those 2 picks too.
Hey, they didn't pick Kickalicious.
Oh
when they had
man,
the shot.
Dion.
Yeah.
All right, Dion. They walk away. Obviously, Aiden Jamison, Josh Pascal in the second round, which I thought was a very good pick. Kirby Joseph. They got what I believe is at least 4 contributors, 4 starters for sure with the first 4 picks. Walk me through expectations now post-draft. It's still too early. This offense, I believe, is going to be run-dependent, a lot of play action, deception, but speed. speed seems to be the theme of this football team, and you saw success last year down the stretch when they had speed going on run underneath routes, running reverses, end arounds, whatever it may be. This is a team that is looking to be fast, and I kind of can get used to that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice change of pace for sure from what we had. I'm with you 100%. I thought, the two offensive additions, and, I was kind of on that one-to-tackle thing at the end, but it's fine. We got one in UDFA, so I feel good there. But, yeah, with the offense, I feel like we had a lot of pieces last season. We were missing some depth issues, but we kind of cleaned that off heading into free agency. And then to come in the draft, what we really were missing was just a playmaker at receiver. I mean, we had DJ Chark, who's nice. He's missed some time, though. But if there was a positional group where it was like, man, we could just use a playmaker here to just kind of give us a little juice, it was receiver, and that was Jameson. You come back and get the tight end. That was great. So I feel really good about this offense. I'm with you. I think we're still a run-first team. I don't think we want to throw the ball 40 times a game. I think we had to. We could. But I think it does open up everything beyond just what Jameson can do. And then we know when he gets those quick little receiver screens that we were throwing last year that maybe a guy gets 2-3 yards on. If they pick up blocks, maybe 5-6. Jameson gets like 10 on those, just catch and run. He's so fast, just great acceleration. And defensively, they made a great point there. I know, we were talking last time, we were talking about the how you have to hit these draft picks and how important these are. Well, you're right. The first 4 players that we got all seem like they're going to be impact players. Probably year one. Kirby Joseph will probably fall into a bigger role as time goes on. Maybe if Deshaun Elliott isn't here, but going down the road. But yeah, Josh Pascal I think is huge because I think he opens up Romeo. I think he opens up Hutchinson, Julian, to Charles. He tries to keep them a little bit more clean. I don't see him playing much as an edge role. I see him sliding inside. So I think he really helps those guys. And we know last season, we didn't do a lot of things well defensively, but one thing, an area that I would start is, we got to stop the run first. Just stop the run first, and we'll start to play off of that. And, Kirby Joseph is a guy that can be a playmaker that we really don't have in the safety room. But we also got the pieces now in the front 7 with Malcolm Rodriguez coming back and hitting that. So I'm really optimistic about our offense and defensively. I love it because Brad Holmes didn't try to fix everything. He just stuck to kind of what his game plan was, his blueprint, what he knows, and that's building through the trenches. And heck, double up on it again. I love it. It wasn't good enough last year, so make it better. Let's do it.
The other thing the Lions are notorious for is giving up 14 yards on 3rd and 13 or giving up 19 yards on 3rd and 18. So hopefully they'll remedy that. The other thing I want to say, the reason the Lions fans were louder after the Jacksonville pick is I'm sure the Jacksonville fans are like, damn, we screwed up again. How can they do this again? So the Lion fans are like, yeah, and the Jacksonville fans are like, damn, we got some dumbasses up here running our team.
I'm sure some of the Jacksonville fans didn't know who that dude was, if I'm being honest. I'm just, they probably wait, who in the world is Trayvon Walker? This guy had 9 sacks in his career. He got talk in the pre-draft process, but if we're being honest, after this, there was really not a lot of talk about Trayvon Walker during the year. There's probably more talk about Nakobe Dean or maybe even Jordan Davis on that defense. And you went with him, so I'm sure a little bit more. Yeah, we're a little shocked if they didn't know who he is. What are we doing here? But it works out for us. We win that Green Bay game. We're thinking, damn, we didn't get the 1 pick, but now here we are. We got Hutchinson at 2. So
I'll tell you what, Dion. This leads me to my next question. Jared Goff, obviously, all the talk was about Malik Willis. Malik Willis, number 2 overall. He fell to the 3rd round, pick 86. I don't want to get into the Malik Willis talk, but what I will say is, moving forward with Jared Goff, I don't mind the idea of him not only being the quarterback this year, but even into the following season, given I think he's exactly what you need in this type of rebuild. When you're building a team full of talent, you need a bridge quarterback. You need a guy that can just play average. If you're above average in some games, great. And I know you're going to be below average in others. That's why you're an average quarterback. I'm okay with Jared Goff moving forward for a year or two. It seems a lot of the fan base is not happy with a $30 million cap hit, which makes no sense to me because at any point after this season, you can cut him and save $25 million of the 30. But hey, that doesn't matter, I guess. Dion, what do you think of Goff moving forward?
Yeah, I think you hit on a good point there. When you look at the financial side, right, you have the out after this season for sure. And then you just look at when he's getting paid on his current contract. We know that number is going to continue to drop amongst other quarterbacks in the league as they continue to push their names up there with their extensions. And, I mean, shoot, 2 years from now, if he's still on the team, he might be the 18th highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. You know, he might fall into that kind of range. But I have no issue with it. I mean, it's hard after last season. I just love that Lions approach, you know, that they took this year. They didn't just take the flashy pick or something with the quarterback trying to get this excitement. They understood, like, hey, for most of the season, we didn't feel great about how we were actually evaluating this. And legitimately, if we put a quarterback into this situation just like last season, he's probably going to really struggle too. We can't do that to him. So I love the way that they handled that. And I have no issue. I mean, look, I want to give him an opportunity because if this works out, Goff plays well next season, we're winning football games, and they're like, hey, look, he's showing up. Because I want one for my quarterback. You know, I get the flashy stuff, and it's different. It is a different change of pace without Stafford. But I want my guy that's just, hey, you know, play within the offense, but just make the big plays when we need him. You know, show up in some of the big moments. And he didn't do it every time last year, but there was definitely some occasions where I will give him credit for showing up when we did need it. You know, you can look at a lot of different games there. So that's what I'm looking for. And if the Lions can win games, and with this guy as their quarterback, they don't have to go on a hunt to try to find a quarterback. I mean, we absolutely end up – I would think you'd say we end up winning this trade. If not, we tied with the Rams because they won their Super Bowl. They did their thing. But it works out perfectly for us because now we have an extra first-round pick. We don't even have to go get a quarterback. Like, that's an amazing situation to be in, to not even have to use that on the quarterback.
Dion,
you just got your guy.
I am so glad you brought up that Rams pick next year. I have an interesting question for you. Would you have preferred Matthew Stafford been traded to, let's say, Carolina? Let's say they were assholes. They traded him to Carolina. He didn't want to be there, but they told him, suck it up, buttercup. And they trade him, and you have picks 7 and 8 last year. You end up, let's say it was Panay and then Parsons. Would you rather have Panay Sewell and Micah Parsons, or Panay Sewell, or let me rephrase it one more time. Panay Sewell, Micah Parsons, and Aiden Hutchinson? Or would you rather have Aiden Hutchinson, Jamison Williams, Panay Sewell, and 2 first-round picks next year instead of 1?
I like the second option. I think of the way that you laid that out. And I was a big Micah Parsons guy, but those future picks, man, they're so valuable, and it just gives you a lot of flexibility. So I actually like having the extra pick there. It might be a lot later, right? And, you know, the picks aren't always as valuable as soon as you put the name on it. But especially the fact that we didn't even get a quarterback this year. I mean, so – yes, I like the flexibility for next season. I do.
Are you upset about that? Are you upset they didn't go after, quote unquote, a backup quarterback, not only in the draft but in free agency? And on top of that, aren't the Lions setting themselves up for success either way? Because Dion, if I told you that Jared Goff plays well, this is a team that probably wins 7, 8, 9 football games. If he sucks, they probably win 3, 4, or 5, and if he gets hurt, they probably win 2 or 3. They are positioning themselves, Dion, in my opinion, no matter what happens this year, to be able to make a decision on the quarterback position.
For sure. I like I mean, the situation any new quarterback does come into at that spot would be in a lot better spot, and they'd probably be much more comfortable as well. Yeah, I mean, I think they're setting themselves up well, and I also think, look, I mean, you look at the whole situation. I like where the Lions are going with this. I'm not mad at the fact that they didn't take a backup quarterback in the draft. We talked about it when we got on here. Like, I'm not taking Malik anywhere near the first round. Carson Strong, okay, look, he hit UDFA. I liked him. His leg must not have checked out, so that's fine with me, you know. But I'm not at all mad that they didn't address the backup quarterback position with the draft pick specifically. We know they brought in Connor Sampson. When they signed Boyle and bought a 1-year deal, and I think you said it before too, it kind of gave you the sense that, all right, this is a thing where it's like, okay, Goff's here for another year. We know that. And if there's no quarterback, like, you don't just take a quarterback to take a quarterback, right? The quarterback is a very valuable position. If the Lions really wanted someone and there was someone that they fell in love with, like, this is the future, Lions probably would have took him at 2, or that trade-up pick would have been that guy.
Now, young Adam brought up the question, you know, would you rather have Michael Parsons and Hutchinson, or would you rather have that extra draft pick next year? I'll say I only want that extra draft pick next year if you can parlay it into getting your quarterback for the future, a guy you feel comfortable with. If you don't get that, I'd rather have Aiden Hutchinson and Michael Parsons. So it all depends on what you're able to do with that pick. Because my thing is this. So let's say if the Lions had the 8th pick and the 24th pick. I'm convinced they're going to be able to move those 2 picks get in the top 5, and get a decent quarterback, better than you could have gotten this year. So I think that's what may happen.
That's what it looks like, right? When you look at just the quarterback class as a whole, and I mean, who knows at this point? Is Bryce Young, is C.J. Stroud? Like, what happens next year? Next year, they may not even be the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft. I know those 2 names get thrown out there. It's a good point. I think plus you get a kind of a, you have that flexibility, like you said, next year, and you get a better sense for maybe where you're at. You take Parsons last year. You're trying to figure out where do guys fit in, things like that. Now you got a better sense kind of where you're at heading in the next year's draft, even if it's not the quarterback position. But you're right. I mean, if you got to go get a guy, I mean, you can find a way to do it. You'll give up future picks. You'll find a way to go get that guy if he's sitting there.
And again, I think you put it very well when you said if the Lions believed there was that guy in this draft, they would have done anything to get him. And whether it was at 12, 46, they would have taken a quarterback. And they had every quarterback outside of Kenny Pickett available to them and Desmond Ridder, I believe, when they were up at pick 46. So I think Brad Holmes told you everything he thought of the quarterback class. Could the Malik Willis dick suckers maybe look right in 3-5 years? Who knows? But what I know is the GM of this football team and every other GM passed up on these guys multiple times. Dion, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Nice to see you. Get your sleep schedule fixed. Would love to have you on soon. And have a good rest of your weekend, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on, man. Hey, the sleep schedule is rough the first couple of days, man. I don't like this time zone or whatever we got going on here. I come back, I don't feel well. I'm like, man, I want to go back to the West Coast. That's nice. Once you get out there, man, you don't want to come back.
Yeah, man. The sun definitely changes you. Definitely takes years, adds years onto your life, I should say.
Right. And for you to adjust coming back, I think it takes
drugs.
It takes 2 or 3 days for every time zone change that you have. So you're going to be okay in 6 to 8 days. And maybe 6 to 9. Sorry, fella. You'll be 100% by then.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I felt that for the first couple of days, man. I was like, dang, I feel terrible. But, yeah, we good now. I think we're getting better now. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, Dion.
All right.
Take care, man.
Be good.
All right, guys. We are approaching the top of the hour. When we get back, I do want to revisit this quarterback saga for about 10 minutes. And then at 9 o'clock, we're accepting callers. Anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you live in Mississippi. We're taking callers, so Maddie, feel free to put the number in the chat. But before we go, I got to tell you about MyBookie, and that's where I'll be betting on the NBA and the NHL playoffs. Tonight, take advantage of all the individual prop bets, the game bets, the lines at MyBookie. Sign up using code Woodward, and they'll match your first deposit. Again, bet from anywhere, anytime using MyBookie. And as always, if you suck or have a gambling problem, call 1-800-270-7117.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risk, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
The official sticker partner of Woodward Sports. When it comes to stickers and signage, think Sticker Genius. We support this local Detroit business, and we are excited to show you our latest project, the Planet Fitness Studio from Sticker Genius. If you need custom stickers, wall graphics, window graphics, and plenty more, reach out to our friends at Sticker Genius. We at Woodward Sports couldn't be any happier with the service they provided us. They were quick, easy to deal with, and super professional. Head to stickergenius.com today.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Also featured on The Roar on 99.1, 93.5, and 94.7 HD2.
What's up, Maddie?
Hi.
You doing okay?
I'm just dandy.
Just dandy, huh?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Super.
Well, look, I do want to revisit for, not even 8 minutes here, the idea that Jared Goff can't be good for the Lions. Now, as a franchise that has sucked at the quarterback position, your first good quarterback was Matthew Stafford after Bobby Lane, obviously. Terry, if there's any quarterback in the 90s, Scott Mitchell and Andre Ware, I don't think anybody worth even
I'm not
having a
going to put them in the
conversation
good
with.
category. I'll put them in the competent category.
What I'll say about Jared Goff is very simple. You don't need him to be great. You don't need him to be your long-term solution. Would you rather have Jared Goff or one of the many options at backup quarterback right now? You would say Jared Goff. And
Malik Willis
Malik Willis. Well, Terry, you're paying him $30 million, and that is unacceptable. Excuse me. Even if you had the $30 million right now in your hands, what are you going to spend it on? What free agent right now is worth anything remotely close to that?
Who would sign with you?
Oh,
you got to throw that in.
Oh, they're going to trade for Baker Mayfield. Okay.
That's the Penguin talking that trash.
What are we doing here? Tell me. I don't have to like Jared Goff, but I can like what he offers the football team, which is no commitment at the quarterback position. No risk, high reward. Why is there high reward? Because if he sucks, you get to draft your franchise quarterback. If he's very good, you are likely a wild card team next year. Or at least contending, excuse me.
Yeah, I wouldn't
say
that.
A 7, 8, 9 win team at the most. 9 wins, I think, is your ceiling next year. And I think 9 wins is the number 7 seed. Hell, even 8. But beyond the point, a guy with a career-winning record averages roughly 258 yards a game through the air, 64% completion percentage, 126, a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Again, not Josh Allen, not Patrick Mahomes, not Justin Herbert. We all understand he's not that. And when you just stop thinking about the $30 million for a second, you'll realize, well, the $30 million doesn't matter, Terry, because I'm not spending the money in free agency anyways right now. And the best contract in the NFL is the rookie contract. Yes, that is true. But you don't draft a quarterback in the 3rd, 4th round and tell me, well, let's draft him and then trade Jared Goff for assets. What? Terry, imagine I drafted a kid in the 4th round and he ended up being better than my starting quarterback. You think my starting quarterback, meaning Jared Goff, is going to go for anything in the market?
No, and then if you did that, then you would have to probably go through another 3-13-1 season, or 4-12, or 4-13.
And that's not going to keep the head coach around. The head coach that you guys tell me you want to succeed. Again, you can root for Dan Campbell. Go for it. But if you take away Jared Goff, unless you absolutely hit a home run, which Brad Holmes literally just told you in this draft there are none, you're fucked.
Correct.
And he's going to lose his job.
Right. And I think if you fire Dan Campbell too soon, you risk losing that locker room again. And it would take the right guy to get it back, and I don't know who that guy would be. So you don't want that scenario. You don't want, 4-13 or 5-12 or something like that again. You want them to be competitive next year, because I don't know if Brad Holmes has the authority to fire Dan Campbell since he didn't hire him.
I'm not even worried about that situation. I think you'll get there eventually, whether it's to keep or remove. I do not care. What I know right now, Terry, is that the Lions are in a position where they're chilling. They're chilling because they're building talent. They're adding talent to the roster. They're building a pretty good roster. It's coming along. A top 8 offensive line. Depth in the backfield. You now added potentially a wide receiver 1 to your wide receiving core. You have an Amon-Ra St. Brown on the 2nd year of his deal. You have a TJ Hawkinson who ideally proves it this year, but if he doesn't, fine, you go and you find another tight end. You don't need one. It's not essential. You can win without a tight end. Would it be nice to have one? Absolutely. Aiden Hutchinson now on the edge. You have 2 young interior linemen. You have young secondary players. It's a young team. And I think by the time Jared Goff leaves Detroit, whoever that next rookie quarterback is going to be walking into a solid situation where, yeah, that $30 million gone on top of the 60, 70, 80 million that'll be available, you'll be able to pay your players that are coming off of expiring rookie deals. You'll be able to go out and get players in free agency and build around a rookie quarterback. Yes, that is not this year. And that's probably not even next year.
When does Jared Goff take his last snap as a Detroit Lion?
I would say at the end of this year, ideally. That's my timeline. Draft a quarterback next year. But if they want to sit that quarterback, Terry, if you're taking him top 5, hell, F it. Let's say they're picking 8, they move up 3 spots at 5, they get their guy. If they want to sit him 1 year, I'm okay with that. But I don't believe they'll have the luxury to do that, Terry, if they suck this year.
Yeah, but who's your quarterback in 2023?
That's
David
what I'm
Blau?
saying. No. The rookie quarterback would be starting.
Okay.
So if Jared Goff performs this year, I can keep him the next year and sit my rookie quarterback if that's the plan with the rookie kid, right?
That's what I'd rather do.
And if I want the rookie to play right away, well, then I just move off of Jared Goff. I save myself $25 million. I hope that is as easy as I said it to understand.
I understand it.
I really hope all of you at home just understood everything that just came out of my mouth. And I'm not trying to be condescending or mean. I'm really trying to help here. Do not cave in to this Jared Goff agenda that he sucks or he's bad for the Lions right now. Stop it. Just like you fell for the Malik Willis, I'm going to try to save you right now. Jared Goff is good for the Detroit Lions. Let me tell you why one more time. You are not committed to him long term. You can remove him at the end of the year at any time for no penalty. Well, excuse me, limited penalty. And on top of that, you now have time to find your franchise guy. We are heading...
Amen. You sound like a politician. 4 more years.
If elected in office, my first day in office, I would remove...
Not a chance in hell would anybody ever elect you into office.
If I was elected into office, the first thing I would do is protect women who want to keep abortions. That'd be the first thing I'd do.
Okay.
Vote me in right now.
It's got the woman vote.
How about you just tell us about Planet Fitness instead?
Well, if you are out of shape and are not happy with your life, I'll tell you something that would help you a ton, and that's going to the gym. Not because you need to have a perfect body, not because you have to meet society standards, because you just want to feel good. And that's what Planet Fitness offers me. As someone that goes to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, it gives me a peace of mind. It's 45 minutes, an hour out of my day where I'm not thinking about Maddie or anything that's going on here at Woodward Sports. 0 down, $10 a month to get started. Your fitness is essential. Start with Planet Fitness, guys. Let them know Woodward Sports sent you.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart, right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
What's going on? Our friends at Alta Equipment know that when it comes to getting your job completed on budget, on schedule, uptime matters. That's why Alta Equipment has partnered with the biggest names in construction. And if you have a big project coming up, Alta Rents has you covered. With the most diverse rental fleet in Michigan, there's nothing your project can throw at you that Alta can't handle. Give them a call at 844-GO-TO-ALTA today. Alta Equipment, where uptime matters.
Terry, I'm not sure how much you buy into. You have to take on the identity of your city to be a successful sports franchise. And what I mean by that is, I'll use LA as an example because I think it's the easiest one to give an example of. LA, we think the girls, the beach, the weather, Hollywood, all the fame, success, big money. And then I look at the Rams roster last year: Von Miller, Odell Beckham, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Donald, etc., Jalen Ramsey, stars, Cooper Kupp. And even the head coach, by the way, charismatic, great communicator, dating, I believe, a model. Everything about him is Hollywood. Do you need to take on the identity of a city to be successful in that sports town? Is that something you believe is a thing?
I think it's all baloney.
Thank you.
And I think what happens is an athlete, for instance, an athlete comes to Detroit. He doesn't know what to say. So, like, instinctively, they say, Detroit is a blue-collar town. I'm going to be a blue-collar player, because he believes that's the thing he should say to win some fans over. I like the blue-collar mentality, because that's what I'm all about. But that's mostly PR. Let me get on the good side of the fans before they find out that I suck. And then they turn on me.
Oh man, that's a good point. We are taking callers for everybody listening right now. 313-552-6322.
We have one if you would like to
take one. If you'd like to call in, we'll get to it in 1 second.
Okay.
Fish, if you'd like to call in, discuss Jared Goff, the draft, the Michigan State ordeal, feel free to call in. Who is our first caller, Fish?
Ryan, talking the lovely Detroit Lions.
All right, Ryan, you are on the Morning Woodward Show. Good morning. Ryan, where are you from and what do you got this morning?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? From Yanktown. I call in on the regular. I always watch y'all, man.
Appreciate
love y'all show, man. I love that you got Terry on there. He the historian for around this area. He be saying a lot of stuff where I'm like, a lot of the young people around here don't know or remember. I'm like, yesterday when I'm watching, I'm like, Terry, how you going to ask him about, do he remember Anderson Hunt? I'm like, that boy probably wasn't even a twinkle in his daddy's eyes. Yeah, he probably wasn't even swimming upstream yet or whatever. I'm like, he don't know nothing about Anderson Hunt or whatever. But, I know Terry asked, too. He always be asking, like, do you remember Ron Rivers? I'm like, most of these people don't remember. I'm like, Ron Rivers or whatever.
I asked that because I knew nobody would remember Ron Rivers. I don't even remember him. I was trying to make a point that, Barry Sanders was the running back, and it didn't matter who the backup was.
The thing about Ron Rivers is Ron Rivers showed who the true Barry Sanders fans was. Like, do you remember, Terry, do you remember that year? I think it was 2000, like the year after Barry retired. You had Ron Rivers, I think it was Greg Hill, and one other running back. It might have been James Stewart. I can't remember. But the Lions, they were winning some games. I think they ended up making the playoffs. You had people holding up signs talking about Barry who and everything, So I remember Ron Rivers the most from that. But then, another thing you was talking about, you said, talking about how they used to always take Barry out on the goal line. Do you remember who the running back was who they started doing that for?
I thought it was Ron Rivers, but no, it wasn't. No, Ron Rivers. It was the fullback. Not Stephen Boyd. It was
not Schlesinger. You probably thinking of Schlesinger.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Schlesinger because they made a big deal. He kept breaking his helmets. Who was it?
Nah, it was before him. You remember Derek Moore?
Oh yeah, but I do. Yeah, I know.
That's who they started. They started making an excuse because he was looking decent when they would sub him in, and then they would be like, we got to get this guy more touches. So then that's when they started we're going to put him in on the goal line, and that's when you had that whole thing or whatever, So, yeah, I've been watching the Lions for a while. I don't want to be too long with it, but, I want to get on what y'all was talking about a little earlier or whatever. I guess I'm Debbie Downer or whatever. This notion that what we seeing is, like, totally new. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I'm a guy that's like more in the middle. I'm like kind of pump your brakes or whatever. I'm like, I think the fans go too far one way or the other with the excitement or the criticism. I'm in the middle or whatever. I think like I was saying the other day, I called in to the other show. To me, right now, Dan Campbell, I call him Dan Madden Campbell because, the way he had coached last year, like with Madden football, to me, what you hear about him, everybody say about him, he reminds me a lot of he's Rob Marinelli 2.0 to me or whatever. I mean, he got to prove himself this year to me. I mean, everything you hear about him, the guys play hard, they bite off kneecaps. That's the same thing you was hearing about Rob Marinelli. It's like the guys that run through the wall for Rob Marinelli, they play hard. That's what you say when you're a sorry team. It's like you hear about how hard guys play. You know, you don't hear teams like the Rams talking about how hard the guys play for Sean McVay. You don't hear teams like, you know, the Ravens saying how hard the guys play for Harbaugh. It's when you have talent, you know, you don't hear about, when your teams is good, you don't hear about how hard guys play. So some of the stuff or whatever. The thing I'm most excited about is this is the first time that Sheila Ford, I will say, I feel that she is trying to do something different. Like, I feel she's embarrassed, and I feel she's trying to like get their name right. That's the only thing I say so far I'm excited about. I think she's trying, but as far as like some of the other stuff, you can kind of go back to some things in the past, and some things can be eerily similar. I hope they're different, but, you know, they could. I'm not the type that's going to jump off the cliff one way or the other. So
fair enough. Here's the big difference between Dan Campbell and Rod Marinelli. Marinelli never said anything. He talked about, why did you lose? Our pad level was a little high. Come on, dude. That's ridiculous. At least Dan Campbell, if you can filter through the silliness, and he says things that make sense. Now, he's talked about you have to attack another team's weakness. He's talked about we have to have strengths that other teams have to attack. But you don't hear that a lot of times because you're lost on the other stuff. You're lost on the kneecaps and stuff like that. But if you listen to everything he says, he does have some smart things to say. Rob Marinelli never did. I was tired of pad level. In fact, I used to talk to players. Man, Rod Marinelli filled us again with this BS about pad level. And some of the players told me, he says, hey, he came in after this game and said, hey, fellas, you know, the pad level was a little high, and that's why we lost. And so he lost players talking about pad level. I don't think they played hard for Marinelli. I think they looked at him and saw him as a fool.
Yeah, you can say that about basically almost every Lions head coach, even the ones that had some success. They were never coaches that elevated their players to a whole different level. They got something out of their players and never anything worth discussing. But we are going to take a quick break. When we get back, we are joined by PFF's Director of Content and co-host of Tailgate, Austin Gale. Can't wait to talk to Austin about Aiden Hutchinson, now officially a Detroit Lion. We'll get to that shortly, but before we do, I have to tell all of you about Gypsy Vodka. Summertime is here, and there is no better way to get your summer started in Michigan than with some Gypsy Vodka. Check them out on social media and visit their website at gypsyvodka.com. It's gluten-free, it's Michigan's vodka, and most importantly, it is locally owned and operated here in Michigan, up in Petoskey. Check them out, guys. Let them know that Woodward Sports sent you.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Well, guys, it is not nice outside, so you know where I have to go get my vitamin D, and that is at Chili Peppers Tanning. They have the cleanest salons in the D. Make sure to join the Pepper Club for the ultimate deals on unlimited tanning. They'll even beat their competitors by $5. Chili Peppers, they have the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, and the darkest tans.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We are joined this morning by PFF's Director of Content and co-host of the Tailgate Podcast, Austin Gale. PFF, by the way, PFF, and now our very own Detroit Lion, Aiden Hutchinson, launched a 4-episode podcast series titled Hutch, which includes over 50 interviews with special appearances by Jim Harbaugh, Kirk Herbstreit, David Ajabo, Blake Corum, etc., 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 and so many more. So definitely take a listen. Check out PFF's YouTube channel, of course. And again, search for it by the name of Hutch. It's available wherever you find podcasts as well. Austin, good morning, man. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, love to have you on, man. Thanks for coming in. Quick question for you before we get into Aiden Hutchinson. We talked last time about how this was made, the experience going through the entire journey of the Michigan football season. Is this something you guys felt was, I would say, full circle? The Michigan boy, divine child to Michigan, sits the first few years, doesn't get much playing time, explodes onto the scene. They finally beat Ohio State, just like in the episode Doc, how big of a moment that really was for the program. And then now drafted by the Detroit Lions hometown team. Kind of walk us through how this all came together.
Yeah, it definitely feels full circle, right? It's a guy that has had his parents and his sisters go to every single game dating back to high school. So to stay in Detroit is a massive win for him and a massive win for his family. It's also a massive win for the Lions, right? And that was evident in how quickly they turned in the card for Aiden Hutchinson, who is a culture changer and not in what's going to be a culture that doesn't necessarily need to be changed, right? I was talking recently, and the Detroit Lions were picking number 2 overall for a reason. They lost a lot of football games, but they have what not a lot of losing teams have in the NFL. I would say no losing team has in the NFL, and that is buy-in into a culture and into a head coach and Dan Campbell that people can see a long-term vision for and a long-term winning strategy for. Do they have the quarterback yet? No. Is the roster perfect yet? No. But how they've invested in the draft and how they've invested in free agency, adding specifically in the trenches with Aiden, Ali McNeil, Penei Sewell, it has been impressive to see just how much they've done a good job at this like legitimate long-term rebuild while maintaining a culture and a buy-in that not even winning teams have sometimes.
Absolutely. Austin, speaking of the draft, the Lions moved up on the board to pick number 12 to grab Jameson Williams, who, again, if he doesn't get injured, that's likely the first wide receiver taken off the board. His metrics in terms of agility and speed are off the charts. Walk Detroit fans through just exactly the player they're getting, and not just in Jameson Williams, but overall the first round haul. I would say outside of maybe the Jets and the Ravens, maybe even the Giants, the Lions had as good of a first round as anybody, Austin.
100%. I mean, obviously starts with Aiden Hutchinson, and then this trade up where they give up essentially the 34th overall pick in the 2022 NFL draft to move up from 32 to 22, and they move up from 66 to 46 on day 2. Essentially 2 trade ups, 20 spots for 1 second-round pick. The 34th overall pick is obviously more valuable than most second-round picks, but still, it is incredible process from the Detroit Lions GM to identify a insane talent in Jameson Williams that's only available at 12 because he did get hurt. And it's not just because he got hurt in the last game of the season. You get hurt in the national championship, that's gonna like lead to a later rehab and all that type of stuff. But he is transcendent in his ability. He is easily the best mover of any receiver in this class. He's more than a speed type. And people go back to, how come he couldn't be Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave out at Ohio State? He was getting open. It was just a lot of mouths to feed in that offense, right? So I do think that going up and getting Jameson Williams, especially considering the price they paid, not giving up a future first, is such a phenomenal process from Brad Holmes, the GM there. And then you're getting an insane talent for when this quarterback position does solve itself, right? And you look ahead to 2023, it's a very good quarterback class. Bryce Young of Alabama, C.J. Stroud of Ohio State. And then you even look at the veteran quarterbacks that obviously like rotate every offseason now. The Lions are a desirable destination. Like, this is a team that has a good offensive line, that is investing in the defensive line, has, secondary help, and receiving core now with Jameson Williams that's going to get better. So I'm really impressed with how the Lions have approached these last 2 off seasons and just what they're aiming towards and where their trajectory is as they move forward.
Let me address one thing. You said, how come he didn't surpass Olave and Garrett Wilson at Ohio State? And people do bring that up. But they also have to understand that the coaches have a philosophy of, if it ain't broken, we're not going to change it. There's a pecking order, and they don't, if Ohio State is winning, even if Williams is a better wide receiver, he's not going to pass them by because, one, we're still winning. B, these are the guys that we picked. They haven't done anything to lose their job, so we're not going to switch that pecking order around. That happens too sometimes. It may not be because Williams was just, 2 or 3, shades worse than these guys. It was just that, hey, we're not going to switch it.
100%. I mean, it's not that dissimilar to Kenneth Walker, who's a transfer from Wake Forest and then won the Doak Walker Award, right? Like, there are a lot of transfers that had success this past year. Jermaine Johnson transferred from Georgia, who has, NFL talent up and down that defensive line to Florida State and had a lot of success. I think Jameson Williams saw an opportunity to be the guy at Alabama and made a decision to move. And then you go back to Ohio State. It's not just Jackson Smith-Njigba, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. on that team. They got a ton of talent on that Ohio State receiving corps. So it was difficult for anyone to crack the roster, especially with Chris Olave was the older player, right? He was the guy that was going to get the opportunities as he moved closer to his senior year. And Garrett Wilson obviously had more opportunities ahead of Jameson Williams as well. My thought is, even if Jameson Williams takes a redshirt year this year and isn't able to come back, say, until week 8, week 10, or something along those lines, it's still such a valuable add for a Detroit Lions team that's obviously on the upward trajectory, looking to build a receiving corps, not for this year, right? They're not looking to be Super Bowl competitive this year, but for the near future.
Austin, PFF gave the Detroit Lions an A+ for their draft. Obviously, their first 3 picks, Aiden Hutchinson, Jameson Williams, and Josh Pascal, by the way, who had the highest PFF grade coming out of the SEC in terms of edge rushers. Could you walk us through the evaluation of a Josh Pascal, why that pick was such maybe an underrated pick? A lot of Detroit fans are not familiar with Josh Pascal. Kentucky, really a program that just now emerged over the last really 2 seasons, and they had their breakout year this year. Very underrated in the SEC. This is a guy that produced in one of the most difficult conferences, if not the most difficult conference in all of college football.
Yeah, Josh Pascal is underrated because he doesn't have the play style, right, of some of these really bendy edge defenders, right? He plays with power, he plays with his hands, and he also has a lot of inside-outside versatility. He was used very similar to how Trayvon Walker was used at Georgia, in that he was head up or inside the tackle a lot of Kentucky because he's got really good size. He could play on the inside or on the outside. He has that versatility for you. But I also think it gets underrated how athletic he is. He wasn't Trayvon Walker levels or Aiden Hutchinson levels, but he still was a phenomenal athlete when he tested, especially when considering his size. His 10-yard split, way more impressive when you go back and look at some of that testing. So Josh Pascal, for me, is a guy that, again, you look at the Detroit Lions and what they've done to invest in such a deep defensive line. Aiden Hutchinson, Josh Pascal in this year's draft. Last year, Levi Muzarike, Aleem McNeil, both the Aquara brothers, Charles Harris. It is absurd how much they've really made an effort to build up that defensive line, not just with starters, but rotational depth in a league where that is so important to have rotational guys and guys with specific skill sets, right? John Pinacini, the defensive tackle there, is not a pass rusher. But if you get him on early downs, he can be one of the better run defenders in the NFL. And having that rotation of skill sets and that uniqueness in your defensive line is rare. You could argue it's the deepest defensive line in the NFL. It's easily one of the ones that's been invested in the most. That is really impressive to me. And I think it's intentional from Detroit to continue to invest in those areas.
Is there anybody third day draft picks from the Lions that excite you, that you think, you know what, here's a guy or guys that could really contribute? Not saying they have to start, but they can contribute next season.
Yeah, I mean, looking through their draft, I like Kirby Joseph a lot. I know that wasn't day 3, but I think he was late in the rounds at 97. He's a guy that maybe has some of the best ball skills of any of the defensive backs in this class and really good length. And I like his size to play in the box. I think he's versatile enough to play other positions as well. After that, I think Malcolm Rodriguez is an interesting player. Oklahoma State off-ball linebacker that's tiny and lack of size at off-ball linebacker is okay when you're a really good athlete. He's not in that elite tier, but I really do like Malcolm Rodriguez a lot as a football player, right? He's a special teams ace. I think that's his floor in the NFL, because that's just the type of player he is. I don't see a lot of impact players in their day 3. I think where they really hit home runs was day 1, day 2.
Absolutely. Austin, before we let you go, I do want to revisit Hutch. This obviously the podcast going on with the story of Aiden Hutchinson. It starts early on, obviously his journey, his family. Episode 2, things get really interesting, right? Discussing how Aiden got to this point, right? A lot of people say, well, this is a one-year breakout player. We've seen this with Joe Burrow just in recent history, but could you walk the audience through really what it is to be a player that you have to develop, you have to wait for your moment, and then when it finally comes, yes, you take advantage of it, but do NFL teams punish these type of players who only produce 1 year in college? And 2, I think it's important for people to understand it was Josh Uche, it was Chase Winovich, it was Rashawn Gary, it was Devin Bush. He was behind some very talented edge players at Michigan.
I think it's also important to call out, too, though, as a true freshman, I talked to his defensive coordinator there, Adham Brown, and he said, I needed him to be on the football field. He did not take a redshirt year. Like, he wanted him to play early in his Michigan career as a 4-star, right? This guy's not some 5-star freak. He's a 4-star that still isn't taking a redshirt year with one of the deepest defensive lines in college football. You know, Josh Uche, Chase Winovich, Rashawn Gary, they had so much talent on that defensive line, and he still didn't redshirt his true freshman season and had good production playing on the inside. They asked him to add weight above like 270, 275, and he got down to 260 behind this previous year, and that's a big reason for his breakout as well. And then you go from 2018 to 2019, he's still playing on a really deep defensive line. Kwity Paye, all these guys that are still there, Josh Uche, who are going to be highly drafted picks and still getting opportunities in 2019. Go back and watch the 2019 season Michigan versus Iowa game. You'll see Aiden Hutchinson be one of the few players in the country that could actually get into Tristan Wirfs' pads and make plays. Then in 2020, 6 snaps into the third game of the season, he breaks his ankle. You know, one of the worst injuries, you know, one of the biggest pieces of adversity in his life. Then he was going to go into the draft last year, right? If he didn't get hurt and played a full 2020 season, COVID impacted, gets hurt, makes this decision to come back, gets down to 260 and lights it up. I do think that there's a lot of context to like his journey at Michigan and what all culminated to what was obviously an absurd season this past year.
Well, Austin, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really, really appreciate it. Everybody at home, make sure you check out the 4-episode series labeled Hutch. You can find it on any podcast platform. It is a 4-part episode series. Austin, thank you so much again. Check out Austin on the Tailgate podcast, of course. Make sure you check out PFF on their YouTube channel. And again, take a listen to the story of Aiden Hutchinson.
I'm going to check that out before I check out Winning Time again. So I'm ready.
It was a great listen. I really enjoyed it. It gives you perspective on what it takes to get to not only this level, but really, again, adversity. Everybody sees the player up there holding the jersey. They don't understand years and years and years of sacrifice, adversity. I think it's really good insight. So really always nice to have Austin on. We have to take a quick break. When we get back, Tom Brady just never loses. He never loses, and I'll tell you why. But before I do, Maddie, could you tell everybody at home about the great work everybody at the Sports Marketing Agency are doing?
Yes, I can. The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the F Word, helps spread awareness of fentanyl and other addictions. Go to sportsma.com if you are struggling or know someone who is, and let them know that Woodward Sports sent you.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Make sure you're listening to Woodward Sports all day long. Start your morning with the Morning Woodward Show. Spend middays with Big D Energy. Watch and listen your drive home with the Bottom Line. And don't forget about Woodward Bets Daily. All live. All right here on the Woodward Sports Network.
If you are looking for something fun to do, look no further than the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck. That is home of the original football bowling pin game called Fulling. There's 2 ways to play. They have $10 unlimited open play, or you can reserve a private lane for $120. Don't forget, they have a $2 mystery beer machine, as well as multiple full bars. Check it out at thefullingwarehouse.com.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show. Terry, Tom Brady, obviously the greatest quarterback in NFL history.
And troller.
Just can't lose, man. Puts out a video yesterday. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to watch it, where he essentially admits slightly.
Does he?
Does he?
You can look at it
admit it.
two
No,
ways.
but that's just Tom Brady, and says that might have been a fumble in reference to obviously the famous tuck rule game against the Oakland Raiders at the time that set up really a Patriot dynasty, and it was a fumble. Does anybody disagree with that? By the way,
I don't.
Can we all agree it was a fumble? Great. Sometimes, again, you need luck on your side. It was absolutely lucky. Obviously, we all know what happened after that moment. But again, Tom Brady just trolling at this point in his life, which begs the question, how monotone is it in New England? And not just the city. Forget the whole state. What's up with that operation that a guy that I didn't hear a word from outside of need to get better, we'll get better, I need to be better, to he leaves for Tampa Bay and he's drunk off his ass in the Super Bowl parade, throwing the Super Bowl from boat to boat.
Right.
He's become a social media sensation.
But in this case, he's either trolling or he's telling the truth. We don't know.
I think he's trolling in a fun way, because you can laugh at yourself. It's okay to laugh. I'm sure deep down he knows it was a fumble, and he's laughing at it because all these years he's had to shut up about it and like just ignore it.
Well, no, he had that. It wasn't a documentary, but he had like a Q&A.
Yep.
With Charles Woodson, and they talked about it and everything. So it was really interesting. I think even during that taping, he wanted to say it was a fumble, but he couldn't. He couldn't say it.
It's funny to me. I think it's funny. I don't see a problem with it. I love it. But again, everybody listening on YouTube right now, if you are listening and watching, do drop a like on the video and call in 313-552-6322. Please give us a call in. We'll definitely love to take any questions regarding Jared Goff, Aiden Hutchinson, the Lions draft, Michigan State. And Terry, we didn't get a chance to address this in the opening part of the show. Fine, I can admit I think it's stupid to give out rings unless it's for a championship purpose, right? Conference championship, and then of course...
That would be my preference.
Fair? What do we do with this bowl season dilemma? Because everybody gets to a bowl game essentially with 6 or more wins.
Or 5.
Depends on the.
Sometimes you can get in with 5.
Year. Yep. So, if I were to ask Terry Foster, what's the fix? What's the solution to not handing out quote unquote participation awards and finding a more creative way to remember, wow, this was a good season, right? Because if I look at Michigan State's season, I think it was a success. Now, was it the ultimate success? Absolutely not. Michigan had the ultimate year. They won the Big Ten title. That is the #1 goal for every team in college football. Start by winning your conference. They did that.
Right.
That is deserving of a ring. Does Michigan State deserve a ring for winning a bowl game? No. Is that how they do it now? Sure. I just don't know what the alternative is.
Well, that's a real tough question, because one, fans want to see some games in December and January. Municipalities use these bowls to make money.
Yep.
Schools use it to make money for their conference, and it's still a reward for most players, not all players, because people are opting out, deciding I don't want to play in this. So what I would do is I would expand the playoffs. And I know you're going to get blowouts and everything, but at least those bowl games would mean something. At least the Peach Bowl would be a means to get to the quarterfinals or the semifinals, instead of just being a game that fans are starting to tune out, where players are starting to tune out. Because we have a playoff system, these bowl games don't mean as much. The Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all, if you're not playing in the national semifinal, what's it really matter? So you got to Pasadena, you play UCLA or USC, you win, and that's great. But it's not a championship. So I would expand the college football playoffs because then more bowl games would mean something.
Do you put banners up for getting to a college football playoff? Is that a thing?
If you win
if
your
you expand
conference.
it? Because there will be some non-conference.
I know, but and I know the argument would be, well, you put up Final Four banners, but there's a difference. At least when you go to the Final Four, it means you technically are the South Regional Champion.
Yes.
Or you're the West Regional Champion. So I think it's okay to put up a banner. Banners to me don't mean as much as rings and trophies and stuff like that. So if you want to put up a banner for making it to the college football quarterfinals, I'm fine with that. It means that you had to win a lot of games. It means you were one of the top teams in the country. And you can put a banner up there. I wouldn't care.
Okay. Very interesting. We do have a caller, Fish. Who do we have the luxury of speaking to this morning?
All right, let's start off with Nick from good old East Lansing.
All right, Nick from East Lansing. Nick, good morning. What do you got for us?
How's it going, guys?
Good. How are you?
Pleasure to chat with you guys. Honestly, the main thing I wanted to ask, I know they talked about it on Big D Energy, but I was curious if either of you two have had a chance to see the Draft Spectacular, the Pat McAfee show.
Yes, I did, at least.
Did you see the bit? Because I was with two of my buddies, and we were watching the draft, and we traded up, and we got really excited. And, they're like, Kyle Hamilton, Malik Willis, Kyle Hamilton, Malik Willis. I'm like, I'm not sure. I thought it was Kyle Hamilton. And then they go, James Williams. My two friends are pissed off. And they're seeing a lot of other people in comments that are also pissed off. These analytics or analysts don't know what they're talking about. They don't have NFL real game. The one thing that I want to be able to give to any viewer as a timestamp is 3 hours, 27 minutes, and 20 seconds. You'll hear the two-time reigning MVP say that the one wide receiver there that he thought was best or most NFL ready was Jameson Williams.
Yep, that's
I
right.
don't know if you got onto
Aaron
that or
Rodgers.
not.
Yep, Aaron Rodgers did say that, and I believe during the broadcast, it was another infamous moment for I forget his name, the Packers fan. Is it Ty? I think it's Ty, right?
Yeah, Ty.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Ty, again, another year of what the fuck? As a Packers fan, how do we not make that deal? And look, the Packers ended up going two defensive players and then Christian Watson in the second round. But yeah, dude, Nick, I don't know. I enjoyed it a lot. It was hilarious.
Oh, I did too. I do have one question though.
Yep.
It's not completely related, but it's definitely slightly related. I asked it a while back on one of the comments, but it didn't get answered. It's the idea that back when the Pistons, in relation to the Lions, when we get to the tail end of the season and both teams are not looking great, and we're kind of competing for best draft position, do you think it's more advantageous for an NFL team to lose or win their last game of the season to have momentum, kind of like the Lions did winning the last game against the Packers, as opposed to the Pistons trying to get a better draft position with the lottery in the NBA?
I think it's vice versa, Terry.
Let me address the one. There's no such thing as momentum from season to season. That's a fallacy that fans talk about. When you play your first game in September, you're not thinking about Game 17 against Green Bay, because you would have played 4 preseason games. You would have gone to sleep and woken up 100 and something times. That's just a fallacy. Fans have conjured this thing up. There's no momentum between seasons. So that's my thought.
Yeah,
None.
Nick, what I would say is I think it's the opposite. In the NFL, it's more of an advantage to lose down the stretch because your position is guaranteed. The Pistons could lose the last 15, 20 games of the season and fall from the number 1 pick all the way down to 3 or 4.
Happened with the Wings.
So, yeah, I would say it's quite the opposite, Nick. I don't believe games translate or carry over, but I think it's important for individual players, for their growth. I think it was very important for Amon-Ra St. Brown to come onto the scene, right? It was very good for him because the first 6-7 games of the year, you're looking at a guy that has 3 catches, 12 yards, day in and day out. It's like, okay, that's not ideal. We need wide receivers. And then he comes on down the stretch. Oh, okay, we have a piece. Cool, build around it. So to answer, I hope that answered your question, Nick.
It did. If I can have one more point or not, it's completely up to you guys.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Terry, I did want to mention one thing to your a point or to contradict a point you made earlier, which was the idea that no one talks about the idea of like how hard a team plays or anything like that. There was a podcast where Deshaun Elliott was talking about the Baltimore game versus the Lions game, which I was at, and that was heartbreaking, but Justin Tucker's amazing. Anyway, he talks about how a lot of the NFL teams and the players that he knows talk about how different the Lions play and how that team and playing Dan Campbell and his boys, he did mention the difference that they felt whenever they were playing them. So just food for thought. But anyway,
I agree that when you're in that locker room, when you talk to these players and when you see their effort, that there is effort, but for the most part, we don't talk about, for instance, we never talk about how hard Green Bay plays in the division because they're winning. We don't talk about, I never heard the New England Patriots played hard for Bill Belichick. It was more like, well, he's got it together. He knows how to run a team. They might be scared of him, but I never heard that they played hard for him.
I think the saying it's part of the transition phase, Terry. I think what it is when you're establishing a culture and you're not there yet in terms of winning, I think people associate things like playing hard, competitive, right? To try and justify not winning. But with teams that win, yeah, playing hard is not even a question. Oh, having a competitive mindset is not even a question because they're winning. So I think those words are just used as a blanket to the reality of, they're just not able to win games. Right. What do you think?
But we also have to put it in context. You had a Lions team that gave up under Matt Patricia because he was such a jerk and they didn't believe in that system. Then you brought in Dan Campbell and they bought in. So there is there is something, you can see that with your eyes. Because guys, the Lions, we always joke, they get that I-75 highway look. That's because they're like, I got my bags packed, I'm out of here. So you saw it under Matt Patricia. You did not see it under Dan Campbell.
Fair enough. Well, Nick, thank you so much for the call. More than welcome to call in anytime. Thanks again, Nick.
Be good.
Cheers. Appreciate it, boys.
All right. We are going to head to a quick pause. When we get back, we got to talk about, unfortunately, the Detroit Tigers.
Oh, my God.
This is getting bad. We're not panicking, but
someone on the network
you got to be able to hit the ball. You can't have a top bullpen and decent starting pitching and hit Dick. Having said that, I get my haircut at Lady Jane's, and they do a damn good job because I'm not bald yet. And not only am I not bald, my hair looks kind of good today. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of feeling myself. Anyways, walk in anytime, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Your hair will be game ready. Their stylists are unbelievable. They take care of you, and they treat you like a king as they do with me. For all your precision haircuts, visit Lady Jane's. Of course, again, 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
Glad that we can finally start trying to get the stigma off of mental health that's been there for all these years.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Detroit sports by Detroiters and for Detroiters. This is Detroit Sports Network. This is Woodward Sports.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network.
God damn it!
I wasn't done.
Freaking Tigers, man. Sorry, I couldn't hold back my anger and frustration. Jesus Christ. What are we doing here? They're 8-16. They look like manure.
I think we jinxed
And the
this,
problem,
honestly.
I don't even care at this point about jinx, overvalue the team. This was a 75 win team last year?
73.
They added 3 very talented bats, depth in pitching, and they somehow suck on the oh my God, on the area that was most improved, which was the bats. Why? You can't lose a game 3-2. You have been losing games where you only give up 1, 2, 3, 4 runs. I am so tired of the bats being dead. There are no excuses. We're in May. April's over. Come on. Wake up and swing the goddamn bats.
And stop chasing stuff that's like 12 inches outside the strike zone.
Jesus Christ. They are paying you to hit the ball. Hit the
Bull Moose.
Come on.
Bull Moose. One other thing. The defense hasn't been stellar either.
You're a psycho.
Hopefully those aren't any of my reads.
What is this? This is unbelievable. If they had a C to C minus, barely average lineup that could hit the ball,
Right.
this would be a 500 minimum team.
Bat 250.
Bet 220.
Right.
Not 150, you motherfuckers. God damn it, man. I am so frustrated with the Tigers. Like, the problem is, Terry, they are pitching lights out, by the way. Their bullpen is the best in the league, and it's not even close. There's nobody as good as the Tigers' bullpen. And I got to sit here night in, day in. Oh, my God. Every mother...
Don't say it.
Every day I gotta watch this team play good fundamental baseball, and I gotta watch 7 out of the 9 players go 0 for 4.
I mean, you could always choose a different team.
No,
that's illegal.
Fish, shut the hell up.
Now,
there's no other team.
thing that makes it even worse is we fell for the fake. When the experts are telling us they're going to go from 73 to 77 games or still win 73 games. We're like, what are you talking about? This team, took off at the latter part of last season, played better baseball. A.J. Hinch moved up the building process a little bit. So cheap-ass Chris Illich would spin, and then they do this stuff.
Dead last. Rogelio in the chat. Thanks, Raj. Thanks for fucking my morning. Raj says 231 is a team, 11 home runs, both are last in the league. Oh my God. What are we doing? This is devastating. The problem is they're playing good in the area that you thought would be stable but not this great, which is their pitching and bullpen. Skubal again pitches another damn good outing, and he gets 0 support. It is so disheartening. I'm not giving up on the Tigers. This isn't A.J. Hinch is disappointing. Not at all. I am very disappointed in the production of the bats. very disappointed. Yeah, they've made some errors. Yeah, they've made some mistakes. It is not worse than how they're stepping up to the plate right now. Torkelson struggling. Why am I
He's
even
a
mentioning
rookie,
names?
so
He's
you
a
can
rookie. It's
give him-
acceptable, but the whole damn lineup is struggling. Akil Badua, I don't know what the hell's up with him. Everybody just sucks butt cheeks right now. It is hard to watch, man.
And here's the other thing, young man. Look at the game they won. The Pittsburgh Pirates said,
3
you know
errors.
what? We don't want this game. Here, take it. So they didn't even go out and earn their one victory, last week. The other team had to give it to them. Because if they didn't give them, if they didn't have the 3 errors, they would have scored all run again. Then they turned around the second game of that doubleheader and scored 2 runs.
The Tigers have struck out 212 times this year so far. Austin Meadows not doing all that great. Riley Green injured. Spencer Torkelson, rookie struggles. Miggy is Miggy.
Miggy's actually been a bright spot.
Yeah, he's batting like what, 270, 280?
Yeah, it might be down to 256,
Okay.
but I have to double check. But compared to everybody else, that's like
I would, if I'm Tarek Schoolball, I'm calling a team meeting, and I have everybody tie their hands behind their backs, and to get on their knees, and I'm gonna walk by every single one of them and hit them in the head with a baseball bat to show them how to make contact with an object because they can't fucking do it.
Hey, brother, you can't do that.
Why?
Because they'll probably miss the heads. They're so bad. Swing and a miss, and that would ruin their confidence even more.
Oh man, I'm trying to enjoy baseball season and I can't, and I don't like that because this is actually a pretty good roster. The pitching is pitching very well. You're getting good outings. You're getting a very good production from your bullpen, and you have guys that are paid to hit the ball that can't hit the ball, and I am sad. I am a sad person. We need to take a break because I am depressed. We'll be back in a minute. Maddie, could you tell everybody at home about Cintron so we can get to mailbag?
Yes, I will tell you about Cintron. It is the summer of Cintron, if I do say so myself. And now Cintron is available at your local Kroger. That's right. Head on over to Kroger. They even have a 2 for $4 special going on right now. That's an absolute steal. Cintron is the new energy drink for the active lifestyle. Drink it, live it with Cintron.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. Working with Hall Financial to purchase my first home was easier than I could have ever imagined. They treated me like family from start to finish. Find out for yourself at callhallfirst.com.
Three NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991? Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
You know what time it is. It's 9:49, and it's time to think about what you are having for lunch. I'm getting Wing Snob, and Wing Snob, they have the freshest, juiciest, hormone-free chicken. They have the best traditional wings. Try out their signature sauces, Jamaican jerk or lemon pepper. Their wings are tossed to perfection in any sauce that you may choose. When the wings are this good, you're allowed to be a snob. Order online now at wingsnob.com. Wingsnob. We just have better wings.
What wings in football? How do you not?
I don't think people understand what a professional read that was, because while she's reading, Adam over here is acting like a damn fool, and she just went right through it. That's professional.
What's up, everybody? Mailbag time.
Remember that.
Say it. You can say it.
I don't want to.
All right, mailbag time. Everybody get your questions in the chat. We'll get started. First question on the board. Terry, why do the Tigers suck?
I thought you answered that. Obviously, the bats. I just don't understand because, last year we praised A.J. Hinch about what a great job he did as a manager. Now it just seems like everything is falling apart, that there isn't that cohesiveness, there isn't that discipline. I don't know. I wanted to blame it on, everybody watching Miggy get his milestones and everything, but he's got his milestones. And when you see a guy trying to get his 3,000th hit, that should motivate you to do better, not have you become, complacent. It looks like there's complacency with this team. Look at their bats. They're chasing pitches. They're popping stuff up. You can get any Tiger out with a high fastball. They're gonna just pop it up if they hit it. There's no guarantee they'll hit it, but they'll pop it up. It's just really abysmal.
It's like having erectile dysfunction.
You know what? For the first time, we had expectations for the Tigers. That's why you're so pissed off this morning.
Yeah, I think it's similar to erectile dysfunction. But there's medication for the bats being dead. You'll just half your team will get suspended. PEDs. I don't know what they need.
Do something.
Inject. I don't care what you inject in their asses. Do something. They cannot hit the baseball if their lives depended on it.
You do, because if they get suspended, you'd be like, what the hell's going on? Why are they using PEDs, you idiots? And you
No,
blast the
I
whole
wouldn't
team.
say, why the hell are they using it? I would know why. They suck. They can't hit a baseball. Jesus Christ.
And if they're suspended, they could probably get better players from Toledo to replace them.
Probably. Honestly, the guys in Toledo could do this poorly, honestly. Adam, would you win an Oklahoma drill versus stick? Hell no. Let's see. Adam, am I crazy to think that Michigan State will win 10-plus games this year and Michigan will win 8 games only? Jesse, I do think you're a bit crazy. Michigan have an easy schedule this year. 8 home games. 8 home games for Michigan. I think 8 is their floor, which would be a disaster. I think Michigan's a 9-10 win football team again this year. I don't think Michigan State beats Michigan this year. I just don't. I find it extremely unlikely and difficult for them to beat Michigan 3 straight times. If Mel Tucker pulled that off, holy hell, that is insane. I just don't see it. I've got Michigan beating Michigan State in Ann Arbor this year. I think they avenged the loss during the COVID year. So Michigan State, I think, is a 9-win football team. And I would put my money on 8 to 9 wins for Michigan State. For Michigan, I'd say 9-10 wins.
The thing about State, every year I hear the same speech. They're not going to beat Michigan this year. And they've beaten them
a lot.
10 out of the last 14 times. And they were underdogs in every game. Even when Michigan State won the Big Ten championship, they were underdogs to Michigan. So we never expect State to beat Michigan, but guess what? Done it 10 out of 14 times, and I'd have to
yeah, it's no longer a little brother
bit.
thing. But again, I'm talking based on history, based on odds, projections. It is difficult to beat a team 3 straight times in that type of rivalry, twice being on the road. Next question is from Benji. Which team has a better trio of receivers, the Vikings or the Lions? The Vikings. They have Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. You have Jameson Williams unproven, St. Brown in his second year, and DJ Chark coming off a broken ankle. It's obviously the Vikings. Michigan has been owned by Michigan State since 2007. Yes, sir, you are correct. What else do we have in here? Questions in the chat. Would you rather have a top 10 offense or a top 10 defense, Terry, for the Detroit Lions this year?
I think the NFL is switched. I'd rather have a top 10 offense. And I know the old saying, well, offense is, showboat and defense wins championships. I don't think that's necessarily the case anymore. When I look at an NFL team, and I'll put the Lions in this, I'm looking at what must you do to win a Super Bowl. Okay? The Rams had a great defense. What was the thing they added? They added the quarterback, and they had Cooper Kupp. They had was OBJ and all those guys. So to me, that's what wanted more. And the defense, yes, the defense made some critical plays at the end of games, but I thought they won because of the offense. And the rules in the NFL now dictate that they want the offenses to be able to do more. So until those rules change, I'd rather have a top 10 offense.
All right, fair enough. The Rams' defense was 17th overall last year. Yeah, again, guys, don't look for the stats when it comes to winning teams. Look at how they're built. The Rams are built in the trenches, a stable offensive line, a phenomenal defensive front. Very good at quarterback, very good at wide receiver. Playmakers. They can give up a 4-possession lead against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and go down the field 70 yards in 30 seconds and win the game. The offense. It's always offense. So, yes, I'd rather have a top 10 offense. Let's see what else we have here. Why do people hate the NIL, Terry?
They hate the NIL because we've always had this mentality. We don't want to see the athletes prosper. And so, therefore, when you see a player making maybe $10,000, $20,000, people are resentful of that. You know, they believe that college athletes should be amateur, and they ignore the fact that the coaches are making $7 million or $5 million. So I just think that people hate on athletes. They want them to be amateurs, and they're not anymore.
I'm with you. I would say a part of my frustration with NIL is, what is college football, or not just football, but just college in general, doing to protect these kids? You give me $1 million at 18, I have no idea what the hell that even means. One, I think it's $1 million when it's really not. Two, I have no idea what the hell is coming up in my life, because what people don't understand is when you stumble across money, people begin to ask. And saying no is one of the most important traits you could have in your life, knowing when and how to say no. And a lot of kids struggle with that. So yeah, if I had $1 million when I was 18, well, I want to get my mom a car. My mom took care of me all my life. I want to get my dad this. Oh, well, I blew it all in less than a year. Whoops. Oh, the government. What are taxes?
Right.
Well, where's the financial literacy courses that come along? If you accept an NIL deal, we'll give you a college credit, but you have to take the 6-month course. That is a rigorous course that prepares you for what life is.
Some
with
schools
money.
had that even before the NIL. So you have
I
to
think
take...
I think it should be mandated for
Right.
any individual that accepts money to go to a university, in my opinion. I think it's so important to educate these people. Because if you don't know, then what?
Because even if you don't lose that $1 million there and you're a good athlete, you will lose $10 million later.
Yes. And not only that, if you don't make it to your profession, the NBA, NFL, whatever it may be, the money you had in college, if you waste it, well, you're coming out of college with nothing. And two, that could be a platform for you to go start your own business. Set yourself up for future success. And if you don't know how to do any of that, good luck. Good luck. I think it's
One other thing, I think the reason people hate NIL, they believe, and maybe it does, it opens the door for cheating, where the boosters are going to be able to have a heavier hand.
Of course. If I was a booster, I'd be throwing hooker parties on my yacht every Saturday. And I'd invite all the kids after during the off season. I'd get them all drinks. I'd let them all have a good time. The players that are obviously of age.
Of course.
Of course.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. It's just the truth. Like I told you this about if I was a GM. If I was a GM and the player I wanted was 2 spots away and there was no chance he was going to fall to me, I'm coming out with some mean stuff in the reports. I'm leaking stuff. He didn't interview well. He has a small dick. He's missing a toe. His mother works on the streets of New York.
Bam.
He ran train on 7 dudes in college. I don't know. Anything. Just fall to me. I need you. Guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much.
That's it for this week. And
oh man, we got a
Adam's
lot.
going to watch the Tigers all weekend.
I
He's
need
gonna
to
punish
go,
himself.
I need to go kill myself because there's a lot of things that need to happen today, tomorrow, and Sunday.
You didn't call me yesterday.
I didn't. I wasn't
We're
ready.
supposed to have a therapy session.
Yeah, we'll do that later today.
Okay.
Everybody have a great weekend. Be safe. We'll see you Monday. Have a fine rest of your Friday. I am done.
Okay. Have a good weekend, everybody.